People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. I didn't upload any vids yesterday because, I've got to give you a lot of chance to miss me. I'm not going to lie, people. Feel a bit underappreciated. Now, I'm gassing. I just took a day off. I've previously told you, I like to take a day off. Just for me, really. But moving forward, there's some Arsenal news, and first and foremost, let's get straight into it. The boys allegedly will be returning to training next week, obviously in line with safety guidelines with the COVID-19 virus. Doesn't mean we're quicker to play in. There's going to be, apparently not all the buildings are going to be open. There's obviously going to be social distancing. There's obviously going to be a bunch of other measures. But for me, I'm excited to see that. Again, until we've seen it, we'll never know the impact of the guidelines will have on what Arteta's allowed to do. Obviously simple things like jogging. How do we do that with 11 players or a squad of 26? How does everybody jog in the line for a warm-up? I assume everybody's going to be doing either some ball work or some gym work or fitness work, isolated and alone, because we ain't played for a minute. There might be a thing where we get all the bikes on the field, on the grass, and everyone's on a bike safely away. So I don't know what we're able to do or what we're able to get around with that. But for first and foremost, just for the players, because you've seen a couple of players in headlines, the players have got something to do. Obviously from a health perspective, I assume Arteta's going to be there. We all know he's recovered from this virus, and anyone else affected at Arsenal, so that's lovely. So he's got, they're able to kind of get back to normal and do what they're paid to do and be a manager and footballers and that. So we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see, because we've got young players, we've got old players, players with families, players that have just moved to London. And we'll never really, we think we know players, but we don't know who has been struggling mentally, who's been feeling a bit lonely, who's excelling, sort of thing. So we all need to come together and whatnot. But the specifics are Arsenal's players will be allowed to return to their London Coley training ground next week, but will continue to train individually in accordance with government health headlines. Access for Mikel Arteta's players will be limited, carefully managed, and social distancing will be maintained at all time. Squad members will travel alone, do their individual workout, and return home afterwards. All buildings at Coley Centre will remain closed. So there you have it. We're going to have, there's probably been briefed on what they're going to do. They get in, social distances is implemented, and they're going to do whatever fitness work or whatever Arteta instructs them, and then go yard. So it is what it is in that regards, people. Moving away from that, and a bit of the same, but I like to hear these comments in relation to Arteta. Apparently ESPN has said Arteta's been working hard tactically via video calls, spending 90 minutes rewatching individual clips and games with each of his players. But he also made sure that their mental health is in good shape too, which is very good, because like I said, people could struggle being locked up, not just necessarily not having any family around, not being allowed to do anything. So, pardon me, I guarantee a lot of these players have probably learned a lot about themselves. They've learned stuff they like and don't like about themselves that they never considered. And it's also probably given Arteta a chance to connect more with his players mentally, just like in Dubai, because it's irrelevant from football to a degree, and it's a different sort of scenery sort of thing. Obviously, tactically, that's it doesn't matter how much videos we watch, how much analysis Arteta gives. We need to win football matches. It counts for nothing if we don't win. But it's lovely to hear that, because I want to see us hit the ground running if we do play again this season. When we do, hopefully, and obviously, I'm pretty sure. Forgive me if I'm wrong. It's so long ago, but until this happened, we was actually unbeaten in 2020. So maybe it's a bit rich to say we was picking up momentum, but we was picking up a bit of momentum, and then this happened. So I want to see us kind of get back to that. With that being said, obviously fitness levels have dropped and things like that. I'm sure you've all seen both Josh Kroenke has thanked the players for taking a pay cut, in which Arteta's also been praised for bringing the squad together, as well as David Luiz. I'm also sure you've seen Aubameyang's father posted that picture of his son when he signed for Arsenal and said, you know what to do. Now, many people got 2 and 2 and got 5 people. Again, his dad should have an influence on his career, but it's irrelevant. If Aubameyang wants to go to any of the teams he's been linked with, he should. But hopefully his dad has given us an indirect clue as in relation to Aubameyang's intentions. We'll have to wait and see. I hope to God Aubameyang stays, more so because, I finally got round to watching that Strikers Union on Arsenal's YouTube channel with Lacazette, Aubameyang and Ian Wright. And I know the thing about Aubameyang, just away from his ability, he's just a lovable guy, man. I don't want him to leave the club. Ironically, he was wearing this as well, and subconsciously maybe I picked this up because Lacazette and that lot had it and I took it out of my wardrobe. But I want him to stay. If he leaves, he leaves. It is what it is, man. I've seen many a player leave, man. And it's hurt every time, but, you know, time's a healer. I got over Alexis Sanchez. Eventually, I got over Henry. Still kind of mash up to this day. But it is what it is. Keeping up with Aubameyang, people, though, and, you know, allegedly, according to Le 10 Sport, contrary to reports, Arsenal haven't given up on trying to get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to sign a new contract and plan to offer him an attractive wage increase. Now, that's of importance to me because you want to see him stay, and hopefully that's the case. But it also does make me wonder. Obviously, these wage cuts and deferrals are a hot topic in football, specifically to Arsenal as well. Obviously, so how does it work? You've given a man a pay cut, but if you turn around and give Aubameyang a new deal, what happens to the P's he's already agreed to forfeit? Or does it carry over? Like, you sign a new deal, but, you know, the 12.5, whatever, is still in place and you still owe him the money. Also, what does that mean for other players? Because, again, Saka's not on the biggest of wages and he deserves a deal. But if players are given contracts, and more so Aubameyang, but if players are given contracts like improvements, other players that thought they was in line for that might think and sit there and go, hold on. Like, walk on for this. Like, you know, if you look at, let's just say Eddie Nketiah, Kolasinac, Lacazette, Bellerin, I'm pretty sure these are Eddie and Nketiah, if I haven't said, but these are players contracted until 2022. And so you'd imagine some of them will be sold, but some of them are probably in line to get new deals. Louise is contracted until 2021 as well. Talk of signing a new deal. You have to think, yo, what go on for this club? Like, what's the honest intentions? If people are getting significant wage increases when you're telling me we can't really do that, then other people might think you're moving a bit funny. But I don't know. That's all stuff irrelevant for me. I just hope Aubameyang signs a new deal. You know, apparently contract talks will happen at the end of the season, which to me is too little too late, but hopefully it's positive news on that front, because according to what newspaper you read, Aubameyang is playing for every team in the top 6. He's going to win Serie A for Juventus or Inter Milan. He's going to play for both Spanish big giants in Barca and Madrid. We'll have to see what happens, people. We should give him a wage increase because, you know, he deserves it. He just, in terms of a role of a striker and what strikers are meant to do, scoring goals, he's done that to a significant standard. You look at all of the Arsenal milestones, Premier League milestones, you know, all the different fancy stats will highlight the fact of how great Aubameyang is in front of goal. So hopefully there's positive reports, but for me, until a man signed a new deal, it's all up in air really. But on that note, people, it's always a pleasure. DG.